In the spotlight tonight is Paul Moorhouse from Bristol, a welfare rights advisor. His specialist subject is the Monmouth Rebellion of 1685. Andrew Burrows from Shropshire, a subtitler. His is the history of Manchester City Football Club. Julia McLaughlin-Cook from Liverpool, a voluntary worker, and her subject is the history of Babylonia. And John Tweddle from Middlesbrough, a job seeker whose subject is American presidential elections in 1940 to 2000. Hello, I'm John Humphreys, and welcome to the semi-finals of Mastermind. All our contenders this evening have, of course, already won a round. Whoever wins this contest will go through to the grand final and the chance of winning the title of Mastermind. The rules, as always, mean they get 2 minutes on each of their specialist subjects and on general knowledge. So let's have the first contender, please. And your name is?
Paul Moorhouse.
Your occupation?
I'm a welfare rights advisor.
And the last time around you chose Mary Anning of Lyme Regis as your specialist subject. Tonight you're choosing?
The Monmouth Rebellion of 1685.
2 minutes, starting now. Which Scottish lord was executed in Edinburgh in June 1685 after attempting a revolt in advance of Monmouth's rebellion?
Duke of Argyll.
Yes. At the Battle of Sedgemoor, what was the name of the ditch between the two sides that fatally delayed Monmouth's advance?
The Bussex Reen.
It was. What was the name of the French aristocrat, the nephew of Marshal Turenne, who held supreme command of the royal army sent against Monmouth?
Louis Duras, Duke of Feversham.
Correct. What disaster foiled the Rye House plot with which Monmouth was involved because it caused Charles II and James, Duke of York, to go home early from the races?
Bad weather.
No, fire at Newmarket. Which of Monmouth's regiments was commanded by Colonel Bassett, who had personally mustered the several hundred Taunton men it comprised?
The Blue Regiment.
Yes. In the market square of which town was Charles Speke hanged, purportedly for shaking hands with Monmouth when he passed through?
Ilminster.
Yes. Which notorious agitator, active from the reign of Charles I, fled to Holland to avoid possible implication in the rebellion and became Postmaster General upon his return to England?
John Wildman.
He was. After the Battle of Sedgemoor, the exhausted Monmouth was found hiding in a ditch, identifiable by a pocket notebook and which honorary decoration?
The Order of the Star of the Garter.
Yes. In an effort to discourage Monmouth from mounting his rebellion, William of Orange reputedly advised him to take service with whom?
The King of France.
The Holy Roman Emperor. What is the name of the Bishop of Winchester who fought on the king's side during the rebellion?
Old Patch. No, pass.
To which region of the world were over 800 prisoners transported in the wake of the trials of the rebellion?
West Indies.
Yes. Which Cheshire peer, imprisoned for his part in the Rye House plot, was eventually acquitted of complicity in Monmouth's rebellion and subsequently became Chancellor of the Exchequer and Earl of Warrington?
Pass.
Well, I can tell you now that the buzzer has gone. It was Lord Delamere, Henry Booth. That was one of your two passes. The name of the Bishop of Winchester, who fought on the king's side, was Peter Muse. Those two passes, you have scored, Paul Moorhouse, 8 points. And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Andrew Burrows.
Your occupation?
Subtitler.
Last time around you chose Alan Partridge as your special subject. Tonight it is?
History of Manchester City Football Club.
2 minutes starting now. Who scored the first ever goal in a competitive match at the City of Manchester Stadium?
Trevor Sinclair.
Yes, City won the FA Youth Cup for the first time in 1986. Which club did they beat over 2 legs in the final?
Man United.
Yes, which England international won the league championship with City in 1937 and 10 years later, at the age of 38, captained them to the second division title?
Sam Barkas.
Yes, in season 57 to 58, City scored 104 league goals and conceded how many?
100.
Yes, known originally as Ardwick Football Club, who were the Blues' opponents when they played their first league game under their new name of Manchester City?
Berry.
Yes, who in 2 matches against Tranmere Rovers, played on the 26th and 27th of December 1938, scored 7 goals for City?
Eric Brook.
Jackie Milsom, who pipped City to promotion from the second division in 1927 with a goals for to against ratio of 1.7755 to City's 1.7705.
Portsmouth.
Yes, in the inaugural season of the Premier League, who were City's opponents in the first of their live televised Monday night fixtures at Main Road on the 17th of August 1992?
Queen's Park Rangers.
Correct. What nickname was given to Francis Lee as a result of the record number of penalties he converted during his career with City?
Lee One Pen.
Yes, who in 1967 became the first player to be voted Player of the Year by City supporters?
Tony Book.
Correct. What was the final score in the match against Preston North End on the 21st of August 1954 when the Reevy plan was used for the first time?
We lost 4-1.
5-0. Who were City's opponents in the first ever game at Main Road?
Sheffield United.
Correct. Who is widely reported as having said, "Give my regards to your mam and dad," when he was introduced to Princess Anne at the start of the 1969 FA Cup final?
Tony Coleman.
Yes. 3 players scored hat-tricks in City's record 10-1 defeat of Huddersfield Town in 1987, but whose only goal of the game was City's opener?
Neil McNabb.
Correct. Glyn Pardoe earned his place as what in City's record books in April 1961 when he took to the field against, started so I'll finish, against Birmingham City?
He was our youngest ever player.
Indeed. Well, you passed on no questions at all, Andrew Burrows. You scored 13 points. And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Julia McLaughlin-Cook.
Your occupation?
Voluntary charity worker.
Your chosen subject last time was the Witchwold novels of Andre Norton. Tonight you are choosing?
The history of Babylonia from 2000 BC to 539 BC.
In 2 minutes, starting now. What name derived from the area where it was based is usually given to the dynasty founded in southern Babylonia by Illuma Ilum?
The Chaldean.
The Sea Land. Which Assyrian king was mostly responsible for the creation of the library at Nineveh, which represents one of the major sources for Babylonian history?
Ashurbanipal.
Correct. Which massive Babylonian ziggurat, sometimes associated with the Tower of Babel, was situated north of the temple of Marduk called Esagila?
Etemenanki.
Yes. What is the usual modern name for the avenue leading to the Ishtar Gate and called by the Babylonians Ebur Shabu, meaning may the enemy not cross it?
The processional way.
Procession Street, yes. Which crop formed the basis of the diet in Babylonia and was also used to produce a form of alcoholic drink?
Barley.
Yes. Which people, led by Shutruk-Nahunte, captured Babylon in the 12th century and removed the legal stele of Hammurabi to the city of Susa?
The Elamites.
Yes. Which Babylonian king spent a number of years in Tamar in Arabia, leaving his son Belshazzar to face the rising challenge of the Persians?
Nabonidus.
Yes. Which ruler of the Hittites invaded Mesopotamia in about 1595 in a campaign that climaxed in the sack of Babylon?
Merciless I.
Yes. What is the name of the Babylonian epic poem which came to be read on the 4th day of each New Year festival?
Enuma Elish.
Yes. With which king of Medea did the Babylonians form a coalition that destroyed Nineveh in 612, putting an end to the Assyrian Empire?
Astyages.
Cyax Ares. What is the name for the boundary stones, such as those which record the privileges granted to Sheti Marduk by Nebuchadnezzar I for his services against Elam?
Kuduru.
Correct. Which brother of King Ashur-bani-pal of Assyria led the Babylonian revolt against him that broke out in 652?
Pass.
Which king of Babylon maintained a regular correspondence with the Egyptian pharaoh Amenhotep III and later with his son and successor, finish the question, Akhenaten?
Bernaburius II.
It was indeed. You passed on just one question. The brother of King Ashur-bani-pal of Assyria led the revolt against him. It was Shamash Shom-ukin. One pass, Julia McLaughlin-Cook, 10 points. And our final contender, please. And your name is?
John Tweddle.
And your occupation?
I am a job seeker.
Last time around, you chose World Heavyweight Boxing Championships as your specialist subject. Tonight, it is...
USA presidential elections, 1940 to 2000.
Starting now, in the 1996 presidential election, for which party did Ross Perot stand, having also run in 1992 as an independent?
The Reform Party.
Yes. Which Oscar-winning song by Sami Khan became, with a revised lyric, John F. Kennedy's campaign song in the 1960 presidential election?
High Hopes.
Correct. Estes Kefauver was Adlai Stevenson's running mate in the 1956 election. In which state was he a senator?
Tennessee.
Yes. Who in 1984 became the first and so far the only woman to run for the vice presidency on a major party ticket?
That was Geraldine Ferraro.
It was. In which election did the District of Columbia first use the 3 electoral college votes granted by the 23rd Amendment?
1964.
Correct. Which Native American environmental activist was Ralph Nader's running mate in both the 96 and 2000 elections?
Winona LaDuke.
Correct. Who received a single electoral college vote from the split Virginia delegation in 72, the state's other 11 votes going to Richard Nixon?
Can you repeat it?
Who received a single electoral college vote from the split Virginia delegation in 72, the state's other 11 votes going to Richard Nixon?
Hospers.
John Hospers, correct. In the disputed Florida recount of the 2000 election, in which county did Pat Buchanan receive an unexpectedly large vote, leading to questions about the butterfly ballot paper used there?
Palm Beach.
It was. Who was Thomas E. Dewey's running mate in the 1944 election?
That was Bricker. Governor Bricker.
It was.
Ohio.
In the 1976 election, who received 1 electoral college vote from a faithless elector despite not being an official candidate?
Ronald Reagan.
Yes. In the primary of which state in the 1992 election was Bill Clinton dubbed the comeback kid when he finished a strong second?
New Hampshire.
Correct. In which election was the phrase Super Tuesday first used to describe the simultaneous slate of primary elections?
1940.
1988. In 1972, who became the first African-American woman to seek presidential nomination from a national political party?
Pass.
What was the name of the Florida Secretary of State whose decisions were...
Sorry.
I shall continue. Whose decisions were repeatedly challenged by the Democrats in the aftermath of the 2000 election?
Catherine Harris.
Catherine Harris it was. You passed on that one question. In 1972, it was Shirley Chisholm who became the first African-American woman to seek presidential nomination. One pass, John Tweddle, 12 points. And that brings us to the end of our first round, the specialist subjects, a close round. Let's have a look at the scores. In 4th place with 8, Paul Moorhouse. 3rd place with 10, Julia McLaughlin-Cook. 2nd place with 12, John Tweddle. In the lead with 13, Andrew Burrows. So to round 2 now, general knowledge. If there is a tie at the end of this round, then the number of passes will be taken into account, and the contender with the fewest passes will be declared the winner. If there's still a tie on points, then there'll be a 5-question playoff. So let's get on with the general knowledge round. And first, Paul Moorhouse, if you join us again, please. And the Monmouth Rebellion, about which I suppose most people don't know a great deal, but did it come close to succeeding?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. At one stage, Monmouth was 4 or 5 miles from Bristol, and then he turned back and didn't attempt to take the city.
In which case, history could have been different.
Yeah.
What did he have against the king?
The king was his uncle. He himself was the illegitimate son of Charles II. I think his personal motivation was probably purely power. But the movement behind him was very much around the religious
divide.
Yeah, and the social and political questions that lay behind that.
Right. Well, you scored 8 points. Let us see how you do with your general knowledge round, starting now. In the television series Thunderbirds, what was the name of Lady Penelope's Cockney chauffeur?
Parker.
It was. Which symphonic fairy tale by Prokofiev is sometimes used as a way of instructing children how to recognise orchestral instruments?
Firebird.
Peter and the Wolf. Which popular poem by Robert Browning was subtitled A Child's Story when first published?
Piper of Hamelin.
Yes. Who in 1993 became the first Italian to play in the Ryder Cup?
Pass.
Which enormous European land bird was hunted to extinction in the UK in the 1830s but has recently been reintroduced from Russia?
Great bustard.
Yes. The title character of which song by Dolly Parton has flaming locks of auburn hair with ivory skin and eyes of emerald green?
Pass.
What was Malawi called before it gained independence from Britain in 1964?
Nyasaland.
Yes. In Greek mythology, who built the labyrinth at Knossos and made wings with which he flew from Crete to Sicily?
Pass.
Which Belgian city hosted the 1920 Olympics?
Liège.
Antwerp. In the 1890s, which impressionist painted the same subject at different times of day in different lights? Well-known examples were haystacks and Rouen Cathedral.
Pass.
Played by Kirk Douglas in a 1960 film, who led an army of slaves in a war against the Romans from 73 to 71 BC?
Spartacus.
It was. Tiny Roland's Lawn Row Company owned which Sunday newspaper until it was sold to the Guardian Media Group in 1993?
The Observer.
Yes. The towns of Criccieth and Pwllheli lie on which peninsula?
Pass.
What was the name of the Greenland-born heroine who had a feeling for snow in the title of the Danish writer Peter Hare's best-known novel?
Miss Smilga.
Yes. What name is given to the high-pointed headdress with a cleft on the top worn by archbishops and bishops?
A mitre.
Yes. Whom did Paddy Ashdown defeat in the final ballot for the leadership of the Liberal Democrats? I've started, so I shall finish. In 1988. Might as well take a guess.
Uh,
I shall have to tell you. If you can't think of it, I'll have to tell you. It's Alan Beath. So, we'll take that as a pass, which means you had 6 altogether. Criccieth and Pwllheli lie on the Llyn Peninsula. Some of your other passes. Claude Monet painted the haystacks and much else. In Greek mythology, it was Daedalus who flew from Crete to Sicily. The title character with that wonderful description was Jolene. Constantino Rocca became the first Italian to play in the Ryder Cup. Those were your passes. You have a total, Paul Moorhouse, of 16 points. And now, Julia McLaughlin-Cook. If you join us, please. I have to say that I struggled with pronunciations, but it was a very long time ago, and I suppose we can't really be sure how the people of Babylonia spoke.
No, we can't. They use a syllabic script, but we're still not sure which vowels go with which consonants.
This was an extraordinary place. They invented or discovered a huge number of things.
Yes, they were particularly active in the fields of astronomy and mathematics. We now use some of the counting systems which they invented, such as 60 minutes in an hour, 60 seconds in a minute, 360 degrees in a circle.
Well, a fascinating history, as you say. I can see why you were interested in it. And it did you well. You had 10 points with your knowledge of it. Let's see how you do with general knowledge. In Greek mythology, which monster killed herself when her riddle was solved by Oedipus?
The Sphinx.
Yes. What was the nationality of Javier Pérez de Cuellar, who was Secretary General of the United Nations from 1982 to 1992?
Spanish.
Peruvian. Which Lerner and Loewe musical features the songs The Lusty Month of May and How to Handle a Woman?
Camelot.
Yes. The seed-eating crossbill belongs to which family of British birds?
Tits.
The finch. During Disraeli's last illness, when it was suggested that he might like a visit from Queen Victoria, he replied, "No, it is better not. She would only ask me to take a message to whom?"
Dear Albert.
Yes. Which deformity of the foot has the medical name hallus valgus?
Cleft foot.
Bunyan. For their roles in which 1959 epic did Charlton Heston and Hugh Griffith win a Best Actor Oscar and a Best Supporting Actor Oscar, respectively?
Ben-Hur.
Yes. What was cracked beyond repair in 1846 when it was rung for the last time to celebrate George Washington's birthday?
The Liberty Bell.
Yes. Who was jointly awarded the 1998 Nobel Peace Prize with David Trimble?
Pass.
Which composer featured in the film Amadeus was falsely accused of poisoning Mozart?
Salieri.
Yes. The European Court's ruling on the transfer of which Belgian footballer changed the rules governing transfers?
Pass.
Some of the world's finest marble used by sculptors from Michelangelo to Henry Moore is quarried near which Tuscan city?
Carrera.
Correct. Which herb was believed to improve the memory and so came to be associated with remembrance?
Pass.
Which crime novelist was given a life peerage in 1997 and sits on the Labour benches in the House of Lords?
P.D. James.
Ruth Rendell. Which Irish county was divided into a north and south ridings for administrative purposes in 1838?
Limerick.
Tipperary. Literally meaning without breeches, what term was used in the French Revolution for an extreme republican?
Sans culotte.
Correct. In The Merchant of Venice, which of Portia's suitors chose the lead casket?
Bassanio.
It was. Which explorer, I've started so I shall finish, which explorer born John Rowlands in Denbigh in 1841 was known in Africa as Bula Mutari, meaning breaker of rocks?
Stanley.
Stanley it was. You had 3 passes. The herb that helps you remember is rosemary, but you forgot.
Yes.
The European Court's ruling was affected by the transfer of Bosman, hence the Bosman rules, I suppose, and it was John Hume who won the Nobel Prize, Peace Prize, with David Trimble. So, 3 passes, you had 10 points, you've doubled your score, you have 20 points. And now John Tweddle, if he would join us, please. And American presidential elections from 1940 to 2000. So, choice of presidents, who would you describe as the ones who've done the best job, or the ones?
Well, Franklin Roosevelt was very good with his New Deal in the 1930s. His seeing America through the Second World War was one that's particularly stood out. Lyndon Johnson was on his civil rights. I mean, it's always Lyndon Johnson minus the Vietnam War.
But then I suppose you could say Richard Nixon minus Watergate, or...
You can indeed.
Bill Clinton minus Monica Lewinsky?
Indeed, yes. I mean, the mind boggles, doesn't it?
Indeed it does. Right, well, 12 points with your knowledge of American elections. Let's try general knowledge now. William Gibson's play The Miracle Worker was based on the childhood life of which deaf and blind American authoress?
Ellen Keller.
Yes. In Hindu mythology, what sort of creature is the Naga, the offspring of Kadru?
A dragon.
Yes, or serpents. In 1980, Voyager 1 discovered the moons Atlas, Pandora and Prometheus orbiting which planet?
Saturn.
Yes. What was the surname of the sisters Margaret and Harriet, after whom a cup competed for by women golfers is named?
The Solheim Cup.
The Curtis Cup. Often associated with the Arabian Nights cycle of stories, who is the owner of the faithful slave girl Morgiana, whom his son eventually marries?
Ali Baba.
Yes. Which former Labour cabinet minister used to write a weekly racing column for the Glasgow Herald?
Robin Cook.
Yep. Sol Kersner created which gambling resort in the so-called homeland of Bophuthatswana in South Africa in 1979?
Sun City.
Yes. Lonicera is the botanical name for which sweet-smelling climbing shrub?
Honeysuckle.
Yes. In humans, which hormone regulates the level of glucose in the blood?
Insulin.
Yes. Which European country's parliament, the Althing, is one of the oldest in the world?
Iceland.
Yes. What is the popular name of the third movement of Debussy's Suite Bergamasque for piano?
I don't know. Pass.
Which group of languages created by Tolkien included Quenya and Sindarin and underpin the mythology and history of Middle-earth?
Frodo.
Elvish, or Eldarin. The sable is a member of which family of mammals found in the forests of northern Asia?
Orangutan.
Weasel. Which country's song, a hit for Tom Jones, was reputedly inspired by the story of a gangster from Kentucky in the film The Asphalt Jungle?
Pass.
What did Robert Burns call great chieftain of the puddin' race?
Haggis.
Yes. Which flower, whose head can be more than 1 foot wide in cultivated species, has leaves which can be used for fodder, oil-producing edible seeds and flowers that yield a yellow dye?
Rafflesia.
The sunflower. Which Gilbert and Sullivan operetta is set in the 16th century in and around the Tower of London?
Yeoman of the Guard.
Yeoman of the Guard is right. You had 2 passes there. That song, the Tom Jones song, Green, Green Grass of Home, and the third movement of that Debussy suite is Clair de Lune. So you had those 2 passes, John Tweddle. Your original score was 12. You now have 23 points. And finally, Andrew Burrows, please. So, Manchester City Football Club that got you your 13 points and not Manchester United. Is there a reason for this?
When I was growing up in Manchester, at my primary school, most of the kids supported Man U. I just wanted to be different.
They haven't been quite as successful as Manchester United, have they?
No, but supporting a football team isn't just about success. And if it was, there'd only be 2 or 3 teams that would have any supporters at all. It's about a sort of sense of community, sort of being proud of where you're from.
And is it true that if you're from Manchester, this is what's said, if you're from Manchester or live in Manchester, you support City. If you are not, then you support Manchester United. Is that true?
Well, certainly most Man U fans don't live in Manchester, but when I was growing up here, it was about 50-50.
So another myth bites the dust.
Yeah.
Well, you were in the lead at the end of the first round. You have 13 points, 23 to beat with your general knowledge. Let's see if you can do it. At 2,917 metres, what is the highest mountain in Greece?
Olympus.
Yes. What in 1946 did Mao Zedong describe as a paper tiger, which the United States reactionaries used to scare people?
NATO?
The atom bomb. At his death in 1993, which Nobel Prize-winning British novelist left in draft the novel The Double Tongue, which was then published in 1995?
Golding.
Yes. The name of which gas means acid producer?
Methane.
Oxygen. Grizzled, dingy and silver-spotted are all species of which butterfly?
Cabbage white.
Skipper. In December of which year was the 3-day working week introduced in the UK in response to the miners' overtime ban and a major rise in oil prices?
1974.
1973. Which animals feature in Sir Edwin Landseer's painting Dignity and Impudence?
Horses.
Dogs. Which Native American people of Arizona and New Mexico traditionally live in circular dwellings known as hogans?
Cherokees.
Navajo. In which film did Charlie Chaplin play the dual role of a nameless Jewish barber and Adenoid Hinkle, ruler of Tomania?
The Great Dictator.
Yes. Which Titan was famously shown with the globe on his shoulders on the frontispiece of books of maps published by Gerardus Mercator in the 16th century?
Atlas.
Yes. What is the macabre common name for the coastal soft coral Alcyonium digitatum, which has a bloated, fleshy appearance when removed from the water?
Pass.
Which English composer wrote the romance for violin and orchestra The Lark Ascending, first performed in 1920?
Vaughan Williams.
Yes. Hippophagist is someone who eats the flesh of which animal?
Horses.
Yes. Born Louis Vinogradsky in Russia, which impresario won competitions dancing the Charleston in the 1920s?
Melba.
Lou Grade. In 1959, whose jazz band had their only top 10 UK hit single with Petite Fleur featuring Monty Sunshine on the clarinet?
Dave Brubeck.
Chris Barber. And that is the time. Only one pass. It's Dead Man's Fingers, that peculiar stuff that has that bloated, horrible appearance. One pass. Andrew Burrows, 19 points. So, at the end of that round, the end of the contest, let's have a look at the scores. In 4th place with 16 points is Paul Moorhouse. In 3rd place with 19 points, Andrew Burrows. In 2nd place with 20 points, Julia McLaughlin-Cook. In 1st place with 23 points, John Tweddle. So, congratulations to him. And, of course, he goes through to the grand final. Commiserations and thanks to the other semi-finalists. Please join us next time for another semi-final of Mastermind. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Flaky or rough puff, the pies need to be perfect for the Great British Bake Off next on BBC Two. Then John Sargent looks at Liverpool and Blackpool through a lens for Britain's first photo album at 20 to 4.